Hey, it's Ollie here. Time for scale tip 22. So, today's a very simple lesson, and that is every single coaching call is different. Now, there's a lot of posts out there on social media about how to get clients, but today I wanted to talk about how to actually coach people and how to be a better coach. And one of the first things to understand as a coach is that every single client has different needs, right? And they all have different needs from you as a coach. And they have different needs when they start your program, and as they go through your program, the needs also change, right? So from what they want from you as a coach changes as well. So therefore, whenever you jump on the phone and speak to one of your coaching clients, if you're doing one-to-one or even if you're doing group coaching, it's very important to understand that you have to be a bit flexible in how you're going to help them. So, first of all, to ensure that every coaching call has the possibility to be really successful, I do have a rough framework that I like to follow. And don't always follow this very strictly, but it is something I like to do in order to ensure that the client has a good experience. So here's what I do. Right, first of all, first thing I like to do on any coaching call is build a bit of rapport. Okay, so whether this is the first call you've done with a client or whether it's the 51st call, it's really important to get into a good state right from the get-go. Right, so if you pick up the phone and you're just like, hey, yeah, how can I help you right now? What do you need? Straight away, and you sound a bit rushed, it's not going to set the client off on the right foot. Or sometimes the client's in a bit of a bad mood because they've had something stressful happen, right? And they might not be in the best of moods in the beginning of the call either. So by getting the mood level up at least a little bit when you start the call, it can really help. So this is simple. You can start off just by saying, how's your day been? Right, or if you know something about your client personally, you know that they've got a big family, or they've got a pet, or I don't know. One of my clients, for example, has horses, right? So I can say to him, "Hey, man, how are your horses?" Right? And he goes off and he talks about how his horses are, and all of a sudden we build rapport. That's a really great way to start any coaching call, and indeed any sales call, and any call at all, right? Because you build a bit of a connection, and it's a good place to start. Then the next thing I like to do is dive in and get a status report, so an update of what's happened since we last spoke, get the details, and try and get a really clear picture of how things are right now. Right, so just a brief status report. Sometimes this takes a long time if lots of stuff's happened. Sometimes it's very quick, brief, and easy, right? Especially if you've had a call very recently. Only a couple things might have happened. So the supplier didn't give me the thing, or I tried it but it didn't work, etc, etc, etc. Then, once you've established that, it's nice to know what's gone well, right? What's not gone well. And then from that point, we focus on trying to fix problems. So at this point, there's going to be some challenges, there's going to be some things that didn't go so well. And usually for the rest of the call, I focus on first trying to diagnose the problem really, really, really specifically. All right, so getting a really clear idea of what the actual problem that you should be solving is, because sometimes clients are solving the wrong problem, right? They're solving the wrong problem. So to give you an example, I was on the phone yesterday with one of my clients, and her problem was she was importing a product from China, okay, to sell on Amazon, and in her mind, the problem was the product wasn't profitable yet, and it didn't look like on paper that it was going to be profitable. So her problem in her mind was the product wasn't profitable, right? So after getting all the information, getting a status update on how things were, figuring out what went well, what didn't go well, we had a look at the situation and figured out that actually she'd only sold 8 units of this product so far, right? She got a very, very small test batch, sold 8 units. And from the calculations of what it would cost to order more, she couldn't see it being profitable. So, first of all, I just wanted to establish that profitability was the issue. But because she'd only sold 8 units, we had absolutely no idea of how often this thing was going to sell, what price point we could sell it for, and whether it could even be profitable. So the problem wasn't the fact that it was profitable or not. The problem was the fact that we hadn't sold enough units and we needed to sell more in order to get better data to test to see if this product was going to be profitable long term. Because then we'll know what price customers are happy to pay, we'll know what customers care about, we'll know what problems to solve in the marketplace, etc, etc, etc. So through the conversation, we established that profitability wasn't the issue. Just getting more units to test was the issue. Now, once you're really clear on the actual problem that needs fixing, you can go ahead and give the solution to that problem. So it's very simple. Go ahead, source more units. We can test different things to try and make this product more expensive, more valuable, so you can therefore be profitable inevitably in the future. Then after that, she had a few questions relating to the stuff we talked about, and then the call finished. Right, and that's my general structure. But sometimes calls will be completely different, and they will have an agenda of stuff that they want to do on the call, and that's fine too. That's fine too. But this is what I want you to take away: the value that you think you're giving on a sales call is very different from what the client is getting. Right? The value you're giving is very different from what the client is getting. So sometimes you can come up with the most ingenious solutions to a client's problems. And you can develop all of these things. You can use all of your expertise to really help your client and come up with the best solutions. And that's the value you're giving. But at that moment, at that point, all your client maybe wanted to hear was that you were on their side and that you believed in them. I've had this happen to me. Right? I've spent all my energy providing just these incredible business solutions that I think are incredible anyway. And the client really just wanted a little bit of a pat on the back and for me to say, you got this, just keep moving forward. And that's the value they got from the call. So this isn't something to get hung up about, right? I think it's something to accept. It's just that you never know exactly what a client is looking for. You can just do your best to be there for them, and the value that they get is going to be slightly different from the value that you give, and that's cool. But every call will be different, and that's a rough structure you can use. So, hope this has been helpful. If you want to get more clients, if you want to learn more about how to really help those clients, work with them long term, make sure they renew, etc., 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 and scale your business, then click the link in the description, join my group. You can join loads of other coaches, consultants, course creators who are looking to scale. And also, you'll get a free training which teaches you how to use non-linear coaching to work with hundreds of clients at once without doing more than 4 hours of coaching per week. This stuff has helped me scale to crazy levels. So click the link in the description, join the group, and I'll see you very soon.